I want to ask Ginger, just in closing here, to come up here. She has come here to our local body, and recently she had an amazing miracle. And so I'm going to have her share kind of what her ailment was, what happened to her when she came here for prayer. Come on up here on the stage, Ginger. And then what the report was afterwards. Go ahead.
When I came here, I was suffering from a heart condition for about 1.5 years. I couldn't do anything. It got so bad where someone had to be with me at all times. I had a machine that was hooked to me that when my heart would go into an out of control rhythm, it was like 307 per minute. They would have to come and put an injection in me to stop my heart. Literally, I would be dead for a few seconds and then start it back. And all that damage that has done, I had 2 surgeries and nothing happened, nothing was working. And then they took a lot of work, and they called me into the office and they asked me, said, do you have someone with you? And they told me, you know, I had to get my neighbor to come in because I wasn't able to drive anymore. I wasn't able to do anything. And he told me the bad report that there was nothing they could do, that if I didn't get a heart transplant, that there was nothing else they could do for me. I came to church one Sunday. My neighbor, he brought me to church here. And I thought, oh, I like it here, you know, and it was hard getting back and forward. I sat there one Sunday, and the monitor kept going off, and it kept saying, we're dispatching. And the people behind me kept looking like, you know, and I was trying to get the phone and canceling it. And it would, you know, and I would try to reset everything, and it was still going off. Well, then I kept feeling something, you know, it just wasn't right, but I knew I was okay. And then Pastor Mahesh, he was back there. And it was like God just placed him back there at that door, and I've never seen him back there. And my friend, he said, just tell him something. So I told him, I said, I was just, you know, I was having a lot of doubts, didn't believe that I was worthy to be taken care of. And I told him, I said, I was battling some health issues, and he laid his hand where the probes were. I didn't tell him what kind of issues I had. I didn't, you know, and when he laid his hands, it burned where the probes, I've got scars where it burned. And I'm like, oh, you know, I was really wanting him to let go, but it was like, you know, and he prayed. And he said, Sunday, come to the altar. And I walked out there, and I got in the car and I left. And the next Sunday, I thought, nah, you know, everybody was up here, and they was, you know, I was still thinking, you know, I was not worthy. And I got up there, and he told everybody, you know, he was standing in front of this woman, and he said, nobody touch, hands off. And they literally took it serious, because when he came to me, he was, and it wasn't a, when he did, I felt the heat. And it went in, and I know it was God. And it went in, and I went out, and whoever was supposed to call me decided they wasn't going to catch me, because he said no hands. I hit the ground. And when I got up, I walked from there to there, and I thought, there's something not right. And I walked from out there, and I'm like, oh, I'm hurting so bad. And the monitor never went off. And I'm like, it needs to go off. And my friend was saying, well, just take your time. And I walked, he said, I think it's the Lord. I think the Lord is still working with you. And I get to the car, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not breathing funny. And he said, just sit down. And I sit down in the car, and he goes to get in his car, and he says, wait there before you take off. Well, when he shuts his door, I jump out of the car. And, you know, that's strange, because nobody would let me do anything, you know. And he said, what are you doing? So I run around my car. And he says, don't do it. And I looked around, and it was amazing, because I ran around again. And he said, don't push it. Stop. And I went home, and that day I laid around. I'm thinking, something's not right. I get up, and I cut my grass. I do all this stuff. And then the doctor himself calls that Monday, and he says, Ginger, he said, there's a problem. You need to get in here. And I said, what's wrong? He said, I don't know why the paramedics wasn't called out there. He said, you're having a lot of problems going on. I said, I'm cutting grass. And he said, don't do that. Get in here. Well, when I went in there, they did everything. They checked everything, and then they said, no, we're going to send you to the hospital. So I went in the hospital for 2 days. They checked from head to toe. He called me back, and he told me to bring someone with me. I brought my friend with me, and he said, we've talked to the doctors, and this is Dr. Arter, and he is a top special heart surgeon in Gaston County and Charlotte, Mecklenburg. Everybody recommends him. And he said, you're not on the heart transplant list anymore. He said, there's no damage, but when they stop and start your heart, it was all damaged, and it was all, it was just a horrible situation, but there was nothing there. They didn't even, he said, I had a heart of a 26-year-old person. But he said, we talked it over with the other 3 doctors. There's no medically reason why it should be this way. And I said, I told you, God did it. He said, well, we're going to chalk it up. And I told him, just give it to God this time. But his nurse called and asked me if I would release my records. And this was Tuesday of this week, to Dr. Arter's wife so she can take it to a pastor and let him see the glory that God, and I wondered, why did this happen to me? And it was so God could get the glory. And they said, can you release your records?
That is awesome. Come on, give God, whoa, 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 whoa. Glory.